Vault-Tec told America the vaults were built to save humanity, that when the bombs fell, the doors would close and life would continue underground. But not every vault was designed to protect the people. Some were designed to ask questions. Questions no ethical scientist would ever approve. What happens when someone's completely alone? What happens when identity itself begins to disappear? What happens when society is mathematically broken from the moment the door seals shut? No radiation, no monsters, no external threats. Just people, time, and pressure. Because these vaults weren't designed to protect anyone. They were designed to apply pressure. Constant, controlled, psychological torture disguised as survival. This level of the Fallout iceberg marks the moment when experiments stop pretending to be ethical. Earlier vaults at least claimed to focus on survival, leadership, structure, or long-term habitation. But the vaults in this tier weren't designed to preserve civilization. They were designed to observe psychological failure. Vault-Tec understood something deeply unsettling. You don't need violence to break people. You only need time and the right environment. Vault 77 represents one of the purest psychological experiments Vault-Tec ever created. No community, no hierarchy, and no population variance. Only one human being. The vault itself functioned perfectly. Life support remained active, food production continued, and security systems stayed online. Nothing failed, which means any psychological collapse couldn't be blamed on environmental malfunction. It could only be blamed on isolation. At first, solitude would have felt manageable. There were routines, maintenance tasks, and structure. But the human mind depends on interaction. Conversation isn't optional, it's stabilizing. Without it, thoughts begin to echo. Memories replay without interruption. Small ideas loop endlessly, growing larger and larger because nothing challenges them. Though Vault-Tec did attempt to compensate. Instead of people, the vault was supplied with substitutes. Objects shaped like companions. Imitations of interaction. But the imitation can't respond. It doesn't argue, it doesn't disagree, and it doesn't surprise you. And when nothing contradicts your thoughts, those thoughts begin to harden. Over time, imagination stops being imagination. It becomes a reinforcement. Whatever eventually emerged from Vault 77 was not the same person who entered it. What would you do in this situation? How would your brain handle being completely alone for years, decades, or until you died? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Vault 77 removed society entirely, but Vault 108 created too much of it. The residents were told they were participating in a scientific advancement program. Life continued normally at first. Families formed, schedules stabilized, communities developed. But beneath all that stability was replication. The population began to grow unnaturally, not through birth, but through duplication. Faces began appearing more than once. At first it was unsettling, then confusing, then impossible to ignore. Voices sounded identical, names overlapped, memories conflicted. Identity depends on difference. When everyone looks the same, sounds the same, and behaves the same, being a person stops meaning anything. Vault-Tec wasn't studying survival. They were studying identity failure. At what point does a human being stop being unique and become a template? The vault wasn't filled with people anymore, only cloned play toys. Vault 68 was sealed with exactly 1,000 residents, 999 women, and 1 man. Everything else about this vault was standard. The space was sufficient, supplies adequate, and life support systems functioned normally. The one thing Vault-Tec altered was the population ratio. From the moment the door sealed, balance was mathematically impossible. This wasn't an experiment about survival, it was an experiment about scarcity. What happens when attention becomes a limited resource? When choice disappears? When a single person becomes simultaneously valuable and powerless? Vault-Tec didn't need to predict the specific outcomes. Any social structure that formed would be distorted by design. No system of rules could make this situation fair. Someone would inevitably be elevated and someone reduced. Vault 68 wasn't meant to collapse immediately. It was meant to strain slowly. Vault 69 used the same framework, but it pushed it even further. 1,000 residents, 999 men, and 1 woman. From the moment the vault door closed, the experiment was already complete. There was no version of this scenario where normal human life could exist. No structure that could protect her. No rule that could be enforced forever. Vault-Tec didn't need to monitor aggression. They knew imbalance would do the work for them. The woman wasn't just outnumbered, she was surrounded. Every interaction revolved around her existence. Every social structure collapsed into a single point of pressure. She was no longer treated as a person. She was treated as a necessity, a solution, a resource, something people justified taking from, because the vault made it necessary. Consent stopped being a concept. Privacy stopped existing. Time did the rest. Vault-Tec wasn't studying reproduction. They were studying what happens when morality is placed under constant, inescapable pressure. When protection becomes possession. When survival becomes an excuse. Vault 69 didn't need violence to begin the experiment. It only needed imbalance. Because when there's no escape and no alternative, humanity doesn't all fall at once. It erodes. And whatever life continued inside that vault did so at an unbearable cost. None of these vaults failed. They performed exactly as designed. Vault-Tec wasn't trying to save humanity. Are you fucking kidding me? Vault-Tec wasn't trying to save humanity. They were dissecting it. Every vault was a laboratory. Every resident was data. The bombs destroyed the world above ground, but underground, something colder was happening. Someone decided that suffering was acceptable as long as it could be measured.